Well, hey everybody, 650 Eve here, and welcome home to the channel. As you can see, I've got my beautiful 2023 Panigale V4R and 2024 Ducati Multistrada V4 RS in the driveway. And in today's video, I'm going to ride both machines back to back on the streets and country road and tell you which one is my favorite and why. But let's start with the looks department, and both of these machines are absolutely outstandingly beautiful. Would you agree that these two motorcycles are at the top of their game in their respective fields? The Panigale V4R Super Sport, awesome machine, and the Multistrada V4 RS Sport Touring Monster. Of course, both these machines are not stock. They both have amazing parts supplied by our good buddy and yours, Miami Manny from Moto Million, including BST or Rapid Tech satin carbon fiber wheels. Both of those machines look outstanding with those amazing wheels on them. A Krapovich full titanium exhaust on the Panigale V4R, 3/4 exhaust, which is the only thing that's available for the Multistrada V4 RS. It keeps its stainless steel headers, but that's okay because that is an amazing system nonetheless. I can sit here in the driveway and talk about all of the impressive parts on these machines, but I think you guys want to see and I want to experience riding these six savages. So I'm going to start the day by riding the Panigale V4R. So why not start by giving it a cold start? This machine hasn't been fired up in quite a while. Amazing, but I'm going to jump on the V4R first. So I guess we should start this review by getting rowdy on the Panigale V4R, but that's just what happens when you ride this machine. It makes you do things that you normally wouldn't do just by the way that it feels and how silky smooth and effortless the throttle is in the throttle response. It's dead on and immediate. But here we are on this beautiful bike. Haven't ridden it in several months, and I already know that I miss this machine. This bike right here, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, you know, I've ridden most of the bikes out there, the super sport bikes out there, and this Panigale V4R is the top of the food chain, the #1 street and track super sport machine for a variety of reasons, and let's discuss.
First of all, it's that beautiful 998cc V4 engine in this bike. It's just amazing. And you can see here on the tach that it redlines at 16,500 RPM. That is the highest redline of any super sport machine on the market. And I'll tell you what, guys, you feel that. When you are accelerating and doing smackdowns or on the track or whatever you do with your bikes, you have an internal inclination or feeling to shift gears at about 14,000 RPM. And if you do that on this bike, you're going to look down and see that you still had 2,000 to 3,000 more RPM to go, and this bike just wants you to utilize all of the power. It's just really sick, and the suspension is absolutely amazing on this bike. It is completely dialed in. The Öhlins, and that is exactly how it's supposed to be pronounced. I met with the good folks at Öhlins when I was in Sweden, and they told me that it's pronounced Öhlins, but the suspension is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And you know what? Let's talk about comfort on this bike. It's not uncomfortable for a super sport machine. It has a lot of comfort for what it is. I mean, it's just amazing. Some super sports are completely raked over in the track racing position, but not so much on this bike. The quick shift and auto blip are totally amazing. And wow, listen to that. Wow. It's really an outstanding bike. The brakes are phenomenal. We did upgrade the braking system on my bike, but even the stock brakes were nice. Self-canceling turn signals and other nice things that are normally found on other types of bikes adorn this machine. Makes it really nice. I can't stop raving about this bike, guys. Every time I ride it, and I really do try not to ride this bike a lot because it's really a precious machine to me. It's right up there of one of my favorite bikes, and so, you know, but when I do ride it, I'm instantly reminded of just how amazing this bike is, and everyone that I've loaned this bike to ride it has agreed that this is definitely a very special machine. Look at this filthy road. You see that? That's a glaze of salt and residue. So we're not gonna rip this road too crazy, but this is the type of road that the Panigale V4R absolutely loves. Of course, when it's clean. But you may have seen me on this road quite a few times in my videos. Wow. Super comfortable machine. And it just eats up the corners. I know it's not pretty, I know it's not really a good comparison trying to put this bike up against the Multistrada V4 RS. They are totally two different types of machines, but when riding them, they have great similarities. Believe it or not, this one's comfort, the noise, the beautiful paintwork, refinement, it's all there in the Multistrada. The Panigale V4R does not have the option for heated grips like the Panigale V4S does. I wish it did. That's a nice comfort to have, but other than that, this bike is really amazing. I'm really going to be hard-pressed to see which one's going to be my favorite between this and the Multistrada V4 RS. Okay, guys, I'm on the Multistrada V4 RS on the exact same road that I was on the Panigale V4R. You can see I have just as much fun on this machine, maybe even more, because of all the silly shenanigans you can do on this bike than I did on the V4R. But I'll tell you one thing I noticed immediately, and that is, of course, without question, this bike is much more comfortable to ride than the V4R, and it still has ridiculous amounts of savage noise. It just sounds amazing. Quick shift and auto blip on this bike exactly the same as it is on the V4R. Silky smooth, never fails. But man, I tell you, being comfortable on a bike is really, really nice. I mean, let's just say this, being super comfortable, because that's where I am right now. I was comfortable on the Panigale V4R. Right now, I'm super comfortable, whereas I feel like I can ride this bike all the way to Jim Caviezel's house in Beverly Hills from filthy Cleveland without any serious pain or anything like that. And that's just outstanding. Now, all of the other features this bike has, of course, that the V4R doesn't have, shouldn't have, doesn't need to have, right? So communication with the headphone and all that, with the Cardo device, turn-by-turn navigation this bike has, and all of that. Well, that's not really expected on the Panigale V4R. And yes, some of the SUPERSPORT machines in that segment do offer that, but I get the feeling the good folks in Italy that developed the Panigale V4R just, you know, would roll over in their chairs and stuff at the very thought of that machine having all those features. But I've got the heated grips on, the heated seat on. I feel great. It's only 62 degrees Fahrenheit here right now. So yeah, comfort is really great on the Multistrada. Now, we talked about this in some of my other videos. This bike, and we'll demonstrate it right here, does have adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, which is really awesome. As you can see, it's keeping a distance, and it puts a little display on the gauges of what it's doing, but it's keeping me a good distance away from that automobile. It's doing all the braking and everything on its own. I'm not touching. That's why I'm showing you my hands right now, guys, with my beautiful Alpinestars gloves. Link to these gloves is in the description. But man, I know that I started this video talking about a comparison between the V4R and the Multistrada RS. Look at this bike doing all this work for me, braking and everything. Now it's accelerating. It's going to brake again, but you know, there is really no comparison, guys. I just wanted an excuse to actually get out and ride both these machines back to back. You know, sort of for some clarity for myself, just to see how different are these machines. This bike has hill hold also. Look at that. Let's keep the bike from moving around in the light. But they're just really different, but super amazing at the same breath. I mean, both of these bikes are at the top of the food chain for their segments. I mean, there really isn't another type of sport adventure bike, or sport touring bike, let's call it, like the Multistrada V4 RS, except for the BMW M1000 XR, which hasn't reached the shores of the United States yet, and when it does, I will compare that bike to this one. But I'll tell you right now, this bike already has advantages that the XR doesn't have, such as blind spot monitoring and adaptive cruise. So I'm back on the dusty road, trying to get some thrill out of the RS, and I'll tell you what, man, this bike was made for twisty roads and stuff. Not so much for fire roads and off-roading. No, not at all. Not with the Pirelli Corsa tires on this machine. No, this is a great bike for the street, country roads, track. Wow. And it's super fun. I mean, I could see taking this thing to the track and not being totally wiped out at the end of the track day because of its seating position and comfort and all that, right? And yet, you'd still thoroughly enjoy your track experience on this bike. Obviously, you wouldn't push it like you would on a SUPERSPORT, but heck, you're still going to have loads of fun. So basically, guys, I've ridden both bikes back to back. And if you force me to tell you which one I prefer more, or which one is my favorite between the two, it's going to be the RS. I just can't discount the fact that it's super comfortable. It's got those amazing features like blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise. Yeah, gauges are really huge. Heated seat, the heated grips. But I'll tell you what, the Panigale V4R is not far behind this amazing machine. So keep watching, guys. I'm going to continue to ride both bikes. Maybe I'll have a change of mind after I do a track day on both these machines, huh? Yeah, that's coming up soon. And also, I'm going to put the RS up against the M1000 XR just as soon as I can get my hands on one. So keep watching for that. All right, folks, thanks so much for viewing. I'm going to continue to enjoy this beautiful day on February 9th, 2024. This is exceptional weather for filthy Cleveland, 64 degrees. Totally amazing. And I'm going to ride this bike for the rest of the day.